So I'm just going to quickly go over what I did to achieve that effect in the video that I made. Um, so before you actually get any of this working, well, at least for me, I actually created a emission layer for my avatar. You need to do this first, and then from that you need to make an emission mask. Well, sorry, a glow mask, I think it's called in there. Yeah, glow mask. Which is very similar, but instead of the whole thing glowing, like the entire text glowing when it's told to through audio link or the variety shade or whatever, only certain parts of it will glow depending on what color is told to glow in the mask instead. So there are three colors on there. There's green, red, and there's green, red, and blue. But before I go into that, let's on the main settings, it's all just standard stuff. Main texture, metallic, normal map, blah blah blah. That's all normal. I have turned on the outline though for the avatar, and you can see it just all over it. And that's just set to white outline width. I've set it to 3 because my avatar is quite small, so it just makes it show up a bit more. Lighting settings, I left it as the default, and on the Luma glow settings, I've turned emission glow on with zones, gradient zone enable gradient 1, outline glow gradient 2, audio activity off. Rim light glow is turned on, gradient 3, audio activity off. Rim light is similar to outline, as far as I understand, but it's like the edges of the actual avatar, like where the sort of light that hits pointy bits, I think. That's where it's supposed to glow. I mean, I've noticed barely any difference with it on and off. There is something there, but it's very small. So it's up to you if you leave it on or off. I've just turned it on for this, for the sake of it. So this is the bit that actually does all the audio reactivity stuff, the glow mask settings. Again, you need to set up one of these for your avatar, according to what you want in Substance. You have to do it in Substance Painter and paint your emissions on, and then change the color as you want. So you've got the different channels that will glow according to the shader itself when it's told to make the red bits glow or the blue bits glow. So for me, just because I'm using those two colors, I've left green off because there's no reason for it to be on. I've got gradient 1 on the red channel, gradient 3 on the blue channel. Now, I'm not entirely sure what low blinks and high blinks actually means. I'm assuming it means bass and treble, but I'm not entirely sure. It's not very clear, because I always thought that the red channel was bass and blue was treble, but that might not be the case. But blinks, the effect that makes it like how long it glows for is all the blinks or pulses mean. Like if it's blink, it's on and off. If it's a pulse, it slowly comes on and slowly goes away. But if there's a lot of music playing very fast, I believe the pulse would just keep it on constantly, instead of actually pulsing very well. But it just depends on how much it just depends on you what you want. Something else to note as well, in order to make it really pop and actually shine quite well, I've had to turn the intensity up very high to 6.5. I've actually created two different avatars. I've got Aqua and Aqua Bright. They are exactly the same apart from the intensity levels. They are different. Because I don't know how it's going to look in the final result in the actual Frailty Worlds. If that turns out to be too bright and it's just blinding people, I can just switch to the other avatar, and it will be much tamer. But that's how I've set that up. And then the effects settings, I have the effect mask here turned on with the same RGB channel and the texture used there, and I've turned the Luma Aura Glow on as well. The reason why these are white and not any particular colour is because the tint that you're putting in will conflict with whatever zone colour is going to be coming through. So because mine's a gradient and it cycles through different colours, if I set it to red, for example, and the gradient coming from the shader is yellow, it will, at that time, it will actually taint it so it comes through as orange instead. It will just taint everything and the colours will just mix. I don't particularly want to do that. I want to just sort of leave it up to the Furality people themselves to, decide what colour it's supposed to look like. So that's what I've done there. It's worked out quite nicely. The other thing that I've done as well is when it comes to the fins under the Luma Glow settings, I have the emission glow turned on, but it's under a zone, so it's like changing colour according to the zone. And the zone is basically just, it's not like gradient, it's more controlled by the world, depending. The people who are making the DJ sets, or sorry, the lighting for the DJ sets, will actually control what colours are supposed to come through at a particular point during a song, and there'll be multiple zones that you can set it to. There'll be, so if you have like part of your avatar at zone 1 and part of your avatar at zone 2, they'll come through as different colours. That's if you set the emissions that way. But I found that if I turn like a continuous, if I put it to zone 1 or something, so it's always that colour, and then I set the channels to a gradient, the colours end up sort of mixing quite nicely, because the way that the actual gradients work, it's like a rainbow effect that's going down. You have down the texture over and over again. It's just panning downwards all the time, like this rainbow texture. But if there's constantly a colour on and it's just panning all the time, it seems to flow quite well, because the fins are transparent, or translucent rather. So that seemed to work quite well for me. Don't know if you want that though. But yeah, that's how I got the effect on the fins.